Hello, I'm here to talk about Module 6, Final Project. All right, we're going to start with Standard 3. Standard 3 is talking about instructional strategies. The teacher promotes learning, student learning, by using research-based instructional strategies relevant to the content to engage students in active learning and facilitate the students' acquisition of key knowledge and skills. So, with that being said, a specific challenge, well, two of them would be keeping the student engaged throughout the lesson, consistently engaging all students in active learning, and having the students fully participate throughout whole group instructions. With that being said, a strategy that will help overcome this challenge would be having the kids interact with each other, like a think, pair, share strategy or talk and turn strategy, and collaborative problem solving. So having the kids talk with each other, that's always a good strategy, to have the kids speak things out so you can actually hear. Because at the end of the day, students teach students better. We are the teachers, but you know, if a student understands, he could better relate to his counterpart. Also, have frequent formative assessments. When you're walking around the classroom, listening, or you're teaching something, do a check for understanding. All right, Knowles adult learning principle. Something that goes along with this would be most effective when relevant and immediately applied. So when adults can relate to something, they can instantly apply it. So, for instance, professional development, when they are learning something, have them model it or have them practice it with their counterparts. Um, and they more than likely they will use that strategy in their classroom. So, a challenge that I may run into, or a teacher leadership person may run into when working with adults, is consistently implementing research-based instructional strategies. So having them to on a consistent basis apply those strategies, and also dealing with teachers' different styles of teaching, their level of experience, their belief in instructions. So that could be a challenge when you have all of these personalities. All right, some strategies that will overcome working with adults. One would be um, to model effective instructional strategies. That could be during PLC, that could be during planning, that could be just a great level getting together and going over strategies, practical strategies that they can use on a daily basis. And plan together, write lesson plans together, look at the lesson plans, because everything should be embedded in the lesson plans. And this ensures that students are engaged, teachers are on one accord, teachers actually understand what they are implementing. And with that being said, a standard, not a standard, but one of Knowles' principle is when adults learn best when the information is actually relevant to them, and they can apply that immediately. They can apply it as soon as they learn it. They can model it, and then they can um, 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 model it in their classroom. Standard 4 is talking about differentiation instructions. So, providing students with the skills and appropriate developing skills to bridge that learning gap that students have. So, a challenge would be just meeting the needs of all the learners in the classroom, looking at their level of their ability level, and providing the necessary skills and strategies to help support them for their learning gap. Students may require remediation, on-level instructions, small groups, and enrichment. Managing time and resources while differentiating those challenges could be a challenge itself. All right. So just giving planning is very important within the scope of this. All right. So a strategy or strategies that will overcome this challenge would be using flexible grouping based on student data. Data is very important. Data drives instructions. All right, implementing data-driven instructions using formative assessments. So we're always using formative assessments throughout teaching. From the beginning to the end, looking at the kids, looking at their facial expression, looking in their math journal or their reading journal or whatever journal to see their thought process while we're teaching. So that's another strategy. Providing small groups is very important, and conversing with the child to let the child know, hey, we're working on this, and if you have any questions or if you have any concerns, hey, this is what this conference is about. So conversing with the child is very important. So with NOLS, the principle that applies to this would be self-direct learners. So teachers choose strategies that fits their class. Teachers choose strategies that are easy for them to grasp. Reflecting on student data and instructional practices all impacts student achievement. So for strategy 4, not strategy 4, but standard 4, working with adults, a challenge that may arrive that I've seen that's currently happening in my setting, and that will continue to happen, is collaborating with adults on effective ways to meet diverse students' learning. So with that being said, teachers, they have their own strategies, they have their own philosophy of how to implement different strategies. And that varies from teacher to teacher. So the approach that teachers take can be challenging when you know that it may not meet all the needs of the students. So some strategies that working with adults that you can use is data. Data drives everything. If the teacher is, you feel like the teacher is a little off, what you probably need to do is always refer back to the data. Because the data let us know where we need to go. All right. The data let us know if our strategy is working. So small groups are very important. That's another way that we can talk with our working adults. Hey, small groups. Hey, and this is why we are doing this in small groups, so we can target this particular concept that the student needs. And when we talk about Knowles' adult learning principle, it goes back to self-direct learning. All right. So with that being said, teachers can reflect on what they have learned and they can apply it. And it will improve, and it will improve student achievement, and it will bridge those learning gaps. So in conclusion, standard 3 and standard 4, both of them are very, very important. Standard 3, how to engage students in effective strategies, and teachers, let me say it again, how to engage students using effective instructional strategies and meeting student needs for standard 4. So both of those, both of these strategies are very essential when we are talking about student achievement. All right, active learning strategies are very important. Using data-driven instructions is very important, and that ongoing professional development and that ongoing monitoring the kids to see where they are, and to see if we need to target or do small groups to help that child be successful.